That's why for us it was important that we write our own stories. That's where the pamphlets came out. But you must remember, if you were caught with a pamphlet, you could go to jail. Especially a pamphlet that was against the government and spoke against the government in any way. So we had to find ways of distributing those pamphlets. And I must say, like during that time, schools were some principals were because they had these printing, like sometimes a stereograph machine, and they would allow you to print it, but it can only be done after hours. So sometimes in the middle of the night, you're busy printing that. Then we had white comrades that actually had printing presses. Maybe that was donated, and they would put it in their garage because it can then be printed there. It wouldn't be suspicious if so a lot of the pamphlets weren't printed there was one or two printing presses at that time that would print posters and so on, but most of the material, because it's not only pamphlets but other material, were actually printed in someone's garage, probably a white activist.
It's crazy that you talk about, like, when the state social media was like, there was this two-prong approach to like suppressing resistance stories, right?
But the reality is, because of apartheid, any black person were kept away, or let me say most black people were kept away from actually having the knowledge and the skills of setting up a radio station and running a radio station. Obviously, it was the skills, the lack of skills and knowledge of what to do, how to talk on radio, how to operate a radio station. We never even were exposed to like a mixer, things like that. You wouldn't know because you weren't allowed to purchase it or use it for broadcast purposes. So that, and then we also had resistance, I think, from community people, because in a sense you had a lot of support, but there were always those on the periphery that focus on the negative stuff, and we don't want to go to jail, so please leave the status quo as it is, we're right, that kind of thinking. So some of the challenges, so skills, equipment, those were some of the challenges. I think money was also a challenge, because just even if you could purchase, where would you access, where would you purchase it, but where would you get the money from? So Bush, how we dealt with that is a number of ways.